Okay, so we're now going to record our second macro, and just to remind you, for a distinction we have to do two macros, so we're going to do the second one. You have to print out the code for both those macros and then write what the macro does and how it can be run. So what that needs to look like, so this is the code for the other macro when we went to edit. So again, just a reminder that this selects that range of cells, and this command just clears the contents, and it's Control and N to run, and we might also set up a button to run this too. So the second macro that we're going to do is, once somebody has made the selections, etc., then what we're going to do is we're going to get this macro to basically automatically save. Right, so that's one of the commands we're going to record, and then rather than going straight to print, it's going to go to print preview. And the reason it's going to go to print preview is because then you can make sure that it is as you want it to look before you actually click the print button. So it's a very straightforward macro to record. So here's our invoice, and again we go to our developer tab and we say record macro, and this one is going to be save and print, but we don't leave any spaces and we don't use any special characters. Save, print, and what this is going to do is save the invoice and go to print preview. Okay, and then we're just going to say okay. Alright, so we know we're in recording mode, so anything we do now is going to be recorded as a set of instructions. So obviously the first thing I want to do is just click on the save button at the top and just say yes. And the next thing we want to do is go to print preview. So let's have a look at print preview here. So there it is, goes straight to print preview so that we can see it, and then just close the print preview, stop recording the macro, and that's it. Okay, so now if we look at our macros, we have got the save print macro here, and if we go to options and set up a control key for it, so it's saving and then going to print preview. So I had Control N before, so I'm going to just use the key next to it, which is Control B, and then say OK, and then just run that, and there it is. It's clicked on save and then gone straight to print preview for us, and from here somebody can click on print, and it just stops us wasting paper while we're looking at this macro, testing this macro. So let's just go into the code and see what that code says. So for the save print macro, so let's edit that, and so this code appears underneath the other one, and what this is very straightforward. This code, this is just saying save the active workbook, so whichever workbook you're on, save it, and then whatever sheet you're on, whichever sheet in Excel you're on, print preview that sheet. So those are the only two instructions which are saved. And again, when you have to print this code out and write about it. So here's an example of the previous macro. So this is select these cells, clear the contents of those cells, and obviously for the other one you're going to say you're basically going to talk about the fact that this command saves the workbook, and this one shows print preview of the selected sheet, and you say how it's going to be run. And the last thing we're going to do is make those macros have buttons which activate the macros, and we're going to put those buttons up the top here. And the way we do that is we click on the Excel home button here, choose Excel options, and choose customize from here. Now once you've chosen customize, so this is where we can get hold of our macros and attach them to buttons and attach them to the quick access toolbar. That's what it calls it. So we need to basically get our macro commands. So at the moment in Excel we've got the save, undo and redo buttons. So let me just add a separator, and let me just say that these buttons are only going to be for the invoice sheet. So let's add a separator just for the invoice sheet, then have our clear invoice macro and our save print macro. Let's modify the clear invoice one, so we can give it a button. So it basically, you know, deletes everything. So find an appropriate button. So I'm going to choose this one and say OK. So that's the button associated with that one. This one is save and print. So let's just modify this one. So it's going to end up looking at print preview. Let's see if we can find anything which remotely resembles some sort of printing. So this particular button here, and then say OK. And what happens is these buttons are now can be used just by clicking on them. Okay, so we've now got two ways of running our macros. Okay, that's it, I think. So I'll have a quick look, and if there's anything else, I'll record another video. Otherwise, that's the unit completed. And I might just do a quick video to talk to you about the evidence that will be required.